The esteemed co-chairs, Senator Gerentana and Representative Ritter, ranking members Markley, who is not here, and my friend Representative Srinivasan, as well as the whole Public Health Committee. My name is Mitch Bolinsky, for the record. I represent the 106th District, which is Newtown and Sandy Hook. And I'm here to talk to you today about my support for raised Senate Bill 354, which is an act concerning music and art therapy. So this subject has come to my attention due to the attention that I have been paid by several constituents, which have brought to my attention that licensed creative arts therapists, which are referred to as LCATs, they represent an as yet unrecognized practice in the state of Connecticut. This holistic approach to mental health is a distinct and recognized profession in many other states, in which clients facilitated by an art therapist use art media, creative process, and the resulting artwork to explore their feelings, reconcile emotional conflicts, foster self-awareness, manage behavior and addictions, as well as developing social skills and improving their reality orientation, reducing stress, anxiety, and increasing self-esteem. So I think the significant part about this is that it's a proven, very creative way to foster mental health at a time when in our society mental health is something that I think all of us can use a little bit of help with, particularly though folks that do have disabilities and need a different approach. And this particular different approach, what makes it significant is that it's succeeding in other parts of the country, yet we don't license art therapists in the state of Connecticut. So by licensing art therapists in the state of Connecticut, what we can do is open up new possibilities and a whole new world for a population of people that can't be necessarily assisted, helped, or for that matter, in some cases, reached in traditional ways. So it is a very unique study. The American Art Therapy Association demands that its practitioners be trained within an approved and accredited art therapy master's program. Training for the profession is conducted by educational institutions accredited by the Council of Higher Education. Accreditation with art therapy master programs approved by the Educational Program Approval Board of the American Art Therapy Association. I can't believe I actually said that with one breath. Whew. But art therapy practice requires a very special level of knowledge. Visual arts, drawing, painting, sculpture, other forms, the creative process, human development, psychological and counseling theories and techniques. This is a special practice that needs to be opened up and licensed in the state of Connecticut. It's been brought mainly to my attention by a constituent named Allison Trainer Cello, who's not here at this moment, but she will be testifying before you. She's one of the many art therapists that are forced to practice her art. Or is it medicine? Well, it's a little bit of both. But she is forced to practice outside of the state of Connecticut. So she has a practice in Putnam County, New York, yet she is a Newtown resident, and she and others are asking for your support, committee, to have the opportunity to work and assist their neighbors, share with our state the expertise of using these unique and creative therapies to contribute to Connecticut's well-being. Currently, Allison practices, like I said, in New York State, where the LCAT is approved, recognized, and a licensed therapy method. So high standards are practiced, and my ask for you, esteemed committee members, will you help make this possible in the state of Connecticut? So thank you for your consideration. My eternal gratitude for raising this bill, and you're going to hear from many, many other counterparts, as well as we've already heard from constituents about this particular practice. So thank you.
Thank you, Representative Bolinsky, and thank you for your eloquent testimony. We do appreciate it. Representative Srinivasan has a question.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Representative Bolinsky, for being here this afternoon and for your testimony. So, as you very appropriately put it, this is the ask, as you said, in terms of licensing these therapists. So that is what you were asking us to look into.
Yes.
Because if we don't, the service is not available in our state, and people have to go outside the state to be able to get that. So in the constituent we just heard, I don't know if you were in the room at that time when she is getting this therapy. Is it outside the state that she's getting the therapy? Where is she getting her therapy? Are you aware of that?
I heard her testimony, and I do not know the therapy that she's getting, and I can't comment on where she's getting it. However, it's my speculation that she's receiving, based on what I pieced together from her testimony, that she's accessing it through a school district. So my assumption, and I hate to assume, but my assumption is that there is some sort of a quasi-program that's based on this theory, based on this treatment, that is happening in select school systems. Now, the concept of how it's being practiced and the licensure, the quality control, and the robustness of the program itself is what comes into one of the sections and one of the asks in the bill, which is to create this as a master's program with strict standards for the training and the hours practiced and the preparation, and then obviously documentation of the benefits in a patient setting. So that's, I think, the ask here. So what we're probably looking at, to answer your question from the beginning again, is a quasi-program, but it's not being done on a licensed basis because in Connecticut we don't have a licensing process. So I can't actually tell you that there's any consistency to the art therapy that may be being practiced in a quasi-professional setting in the state itself. What I can tell you is that the licensed practitioner that I referred to, Allison, she practices at a very high level in a very busy practice in Putnam County, New York, and she makes her living as a Connecticut resident living in Newtown in New York, for no other reason than the economic malaise that we live with here in the state of Connecticut. I would love to see her practicing in Newtown and keeping her employment taxes, sales taxes, and all the rest of that local. So, but that's just me speaking economically. From an art therapy standpoint, having a regulatory body that's dictating standards is how you have a consistent and effective program.
Thank you, Representative. And, another observation that was made in the previous testimony is, you cannot gauge the improvement that has happened over a short period of time. We get that, I mean, in any situation, you start a therapy today, whether it be art therapy or weight loss therapy or whatever it is, doesn't happen next day. So obviously it takes time. But in your reading have you seen documented evidence in the literature where long-term this kind of therapy has significant beneficial effects?
Yeah, I do believe that if you were to visit the website of the American Art Therapy Association, you would see caseload upon caseload of documentation that shows that this therapy is tremendously successful with certain types of people. But when we're starting to talk about the concept of mental health, Representative, as you well know as a practicing physician, different therapies in mental health often have some level of problems documenting progress in traditional ways. So, whether it's talk therapy, whether it's medical therapy, whether it's art therapy, the progress oftentimes requires the application of this particular practice in a consistent way to actually establish the patterns of progress. So that would apply to anything mental health, because unfortunately, unlike many of the organs of our body, we can't actually see inside the brain to see just exactly what's changed, when we're treating it.
Thank you very much, Representative. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Representative.